I used to dread the night, not because of nightmares, but because I knew what was coming, the quiet, suffocating frustration of not being able to sleep. Every evening, as the world slowed down and the lights dimmed, my anxiety would rise. I'd lie in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling like it held the answer. But it never did. It started small. At first, it was just a couple of nights a week where I had trouble falling asleep. I brushed it off: too much coffee, maybe stress from work. Nothing serious. But over time, it grew. The nights became longer, more restless. I began dreading bedtime, not because I wasn't tired, but because I was. I was exhausted. But no matter how hard I tried, sleep never came when I needed it most. I tried everything: warm milk, chamomile tea, white noise machines, breathing techniques, expensive memory foam pillows, even sleep tracking apps that just made me more anxious by telling me how badly I'd slept. Eventually, I gave in and saw a doctor. The prescription pills worked for a while, but soon I found myself needing more just to get the same effect, and when I tried to stop, the rebound insomnia was brutal. It was like trying to outrun your own shadow. I told no one. Not my wife, not my kids, not my co-workers. I functioned like a zombie, nodding through meetings, forgetting things, snapping at people I loved, and feeling ashamed of how deeply broken I'd become. Then, one night, something snapped. It was around 3:17 a.m., I remember, because I checked the clock at least 50 times that night. I sat up in bed, holding my head in my hands, feeling this crushing mix of defeat and anger. I whispered to myself, "What is wrong with me?" And that's when I did something I hadn't done in years. I got out of bed not to make more tea or pace the hallway, but to look at my own life. I walked out onto the porch and sat down in the dark, letting the silence hit me like a wave. And I asked myself a question I'd never dared ask before. What if the problem wasn't what I was missing, but what I was doing? That question haunted me for days. What if it's not about what I need to add, but what I need to stop? I started observing my own routine like I was watching a stranger. And slowly, the pieces began to come together. The tea wasn't the issue. The white noise machine wasn't hurting me. The mattress was fine. But there was one thing, just one, that I realized I was doing every single night without fail. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Every night, after brushing my teeth, I'd crawl into bed and out of habit grab my phone. I wasn't doom scrolling or reading the news, nothing that dramatic. Most nights, I'd just check my email, maybe peek at my calendar. Occasionally, I'd flip through some photos or open YouTube, just for a minute, and then 45 minutes later I'd still be staring at that screen. But here's the thing. I wasn't watching anything disturbing or exciting. In fact, it was mostly boring. But that was the trap. The light from the screen, the little bursts of information, the mental stimulation. It was just enough to keep my brain from ever winding down. It was like telling my brain, "Hey, stay alert, something might happen, be ready." I dug deeper. I started reading papers on blue light exposure, melatonin suppression, cognitive arousal, and I was floored. It turns out that even checking your phone for a few minutes before bed can delay the release of melatonin by over an hour. And it's not just the light, it's the mental activation. Your brain isn't winding down, it's being told to gear up. So I made a decision, a simple one but not easy. I would not touch my phone for 1 full hour before bed. No exceptions, no excuses. The first few nights were awful. I felt twitchy, like I was missing something. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd just lie there fidgeting. My mind felt noisy, chaotic. But after about a week, something strange began to happen. I started sleeping. Not instantly, but gradually, my body began responding. I'd feel myself getting drowsy earlier. My thoughts slowed down. I even started dreaming again, which it turns out I hadn't done in months. But it wasn't just about the phone. It was about the space I created by removing it. I began filling that last hour of the night with things that actually helped me wind down, stretching lightly, writing down one thing I was grateful for, sitting with my wife without needing to say anything, just listening to soft music. I was training my brain. This is the rhythm. This is the signal. It's time to rest. I didn't need pills. I didn't need 20-step sleep routines. I just needed to stop that one habit that was quietly wrecking everything. Looking back, I realize now that sleep doesn't come from force. It comes from surrender. And you can't surrender if your mind is still holding on to noise. The first month without using my phone before bed felt like stepping into another life. It wasn't perfect. There were still nights where my mind wouldn't cooperate, where my thoughts wandered back to emails left unanswered or to memories I hadn't dealt with. But for the first time in years, my body and mind were no longer fighting against rest. They were working together. But let me tell you something important. This journey wasn't just about sleep. Sleep was the doorway. The real transformation happened in the space that opened up when I stopped doing the one thing I thought was harmless. That hour before bed slowly became sacred. It started as an empty gap, no phone, no stimulation, but it became something more. A reset. A return to myself. I began journaling again. Not long entries. Just a few lines each night, what I felt, what I feared, what I hoped for. It helped me unload the weight of the now. I reconnected with stillness, and thatness began to speak. It told me I was tired, not just in body, but in spirit. It reminded me of the grief I hadn't processed, the guilt I carried from working too much and missing out on time with my kids, the quiet resentment I had toward my own aging body. I used to think I needed to run from those feelings. But in the stillness, I let them sit beside me. I stopped trying to solve them. I just acknowledged them. And something amazing happened. My mind stopped shouting and began to whisper. One night, a few weeks into this new routine, I asked my wife to join me. No phones. No television. Just the two of us sitting on the couch in silence, drinking warm water with lemon. At first, it felt awkward. But then we started talking, like really talking, about nothing and everything. And for the first time in a long while, I felt her hand reach for mine without a word. You see, poor sleep had stolen more than my energy. It had stolen my presence, my intimacy, my softness. And when I removed that one habit-me nightly phone use, I began getting those things back. The ripple effects continued. My mood improved. My focus during the day sharpened. I laughed more, listened better. Even my posture changed. I wasn't so slouched and heavy, and the people around me noticed. My kids asked why I seemed more relaxed lately. My coworkers told me I looked younger. And all of it started with that one small shift. Now, I'm not here to say your phone is the root of all your sleep problems. I'm not anti-tech. I still use my phone during the day. But I now treat that last hour before bed as non-negotiable. It's mine. It's untouchable. And the difference it's made is staggering. Let me ask you this. What's the last thing you see before you close your eyes each night? Is it a glowing screen? Notifications? A reel of other people's lives? Or is it your own breath, your own stillness, your own heartbeat? The ritual doesn't need to be fancy. You don't need an expensive mattress or sound machine. You just need space, and you need to protect that space fiercely. Let me give you a framework. I created something I now call the 4R night reset. It's simple. Anyone can do it. Starting tonight, remove all screens, especially your phone, at least 60 minutes before bed. Put it in another room. Let your nervous system breathe. Reset. Choose a simple wind-down ritual. A warm shower, journaling, light stretching, or even just sitting in silence. This tells your body, it's safe now. You can let go. Reflect. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? What made me feel alive? This step rewires your brain to recognize meaning and gratitude instead of stress. Rest. Get into bed not with expectation, but with permission. You're not trying to sleep. You're allowing sleep to arrive. That small mindset shift changes everything. That's it. No pills, no biohacks, no gimmicks. Just presence. You don't need to fight your way into sleep. You need to stop getting in your own way. And often, the biggest enemy of rest isn't stress or caffeine or age, it's overstimulation, mental noise. The belief that one more scroll, one more check, one more email won't hurt, but it does. Because it tells your brain, stay alert, stay ready, something's coming. What if the only thing coming was peace? What if your body already knows how to rest if only you'd give it the chance? I learned that sleep is not a reward. It's a birthright, and reclaiming it changed my life. So tonight I want to challenge you. Before bed, turn off your phone, not on silent. Not flipped upside down, off. Or at least leave it in another room. Then, sit in the quiet. Breathe. Feel your body again. Journal if you want. Stretch if it helps. But mostly let go. And if tonight is hard, that's okay. You're retraining a system that's been stuck in survival mode for years. Be patient, because the stillness will return, the sleep will follow. And eventually, so will you. Thank you for listening to my story. And if you know someone, your parent, your spouse, your friend who's been suffering in silence, send this video to them. Maybe it'll spark the same shift it did for me. Sleep well. You deserve it.